Thank you. You already done 50% of my job talking about composites and advancements. Automotive industry has been contributing a lot to the Indian economy. And I was quickly Googling, I saw today's GDP contribution from automotive is one single digit, 7%. And government is going to push it to double digit, 12 to 15%. That's a huge. And manufacturing GDP contribution is almost 49%. A lot of responsibility on us to create the wealth. And I also heard, I think Tushar was mentioning his dream would be to buy a new e-car. So normally our dreams are always to buy a fancy house or a fancy car. That's how we want to spend our money. And when we talk about that, we always look at some fancy cars, which is kind of our topic of future mobility. So I'm trying to connect that. So on one side we have real estate, which is non-transferable, and on the other side you can buy a car in one place in the country and you can sell it in another place of country. So it gives a lot of immense flexibility, and basically it's not confined to any kind of territories. And talking about technology, again, the automotive industry or the car industry is not confined to territories. We heard a lot about these technological integrations. So somehow I'm trying to connect it. We heard about the future mobility. Apart from being safe and efficient, we also heard a lot on electric mobility, but also I tried to speak a little bit on personalization or some new concepts. And the way the mobility is changing, it is more about the OEMs or tier 1s have to deliver not an equipment or a system, but rather an experience or a product that somebody can consume. So the way the mobility is happening, the developing is completely different. So that is a context I would like to create for this panel discussion, so that we go into that flow. I already got a hint that try to keep it as short as possible, but we have a very big panel, so it's going to be tough for me. When I was talking to Vinit ji, he suggested a very nice thing, that when we looked at the innovations happening, he said that he sees it from 3-pillar kind of thing, innovations happening at OEM level, tier level, and obviously at a material level. So maybe first I would directly ask you, could you give a little bit brief about your vision or your understanding, or how you want to bring this topic on?
Yeah, thank you, Diwakar. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So innovation in auto industry, actually, that is not new for auto industry. Auto industry has a very vast history of innovation. In fact, with plenty of turbulence as well, disruptions and so many things, we are hearing. Innovations were the need, that those are the need, those will be the need. Because industry is transforming, and during this transformation, we are moving towards the green technology. This green technology will definitely require a lot of innovations as plastic material side, plastic component supplier, as well as OEM. If I take if we talk about material supplier, resin developer, there are plenty of need of bioplastics these days. As our previous panelists, those were also discussing about cellulose waste, plant-based polymers and all those kind of composites. So those are the need. In fact, many companies have started working in that direction. People are extracting the polymeric properties of soya, polymeric properties of sugarcane, and all those kind of things. So those are the need. So those kind of innovation are very much required. While at component supplier, they have the flexibility in changing the design. By changing the design, they can have right ratio between strength to weight. So that is another innovation that component supplier can do. While as far as OEM are concerned, OEM has not much scope. They can only define the material to various components, what kind of material can be there, and all those kind of things. So OEM are completely relying on tier 1 supplier and resin supplier. Mm-hmm. So that is my thought, that innovation is the key for future growth, for long-term sustainability, for maintaining the leadership position.
Thank you, Vinitji. You mentioned that innovation at a OEM level is little bit limited as compared to what resin manufacturers can do or tier 1s can do. We don't have a OEM person on the panel, but we have people who are very closely interacting with OEM. So I would like to ask them, how has been their interactions with OEM? What kind of pool you've seen that you feel that, okay, OEM is now going into this direction and seeking these kind of innovations coming from tier ones? So maybe.
Yeah. So, being at Faurecia, we are very close to all the OEMs, and OEM also expect a lot of innovations coming from tier one like Faurecia. The more pull in India, I will talk about India because we deal with all Indian OEMs, or rather a global OEM who are into India for the Indian launches. The more pull today is coming on decoration. It is decoration, decoration, decoration. The traditional parts are there, obviously they are there, but you have huge integration of smart features. You have huge integration of, I can say, decoration part, transparent parts, and painted parts, or how to replace painted parts into a non-painted part with the same effect. So this is the only pool what I am able to see. In all interiors, this is the only pool what we have. And how much electronics you can integrate into those parts. These are the things, because electrification in, I can say in the PV segment is much less. It is much more in two-wheelers. And there also, if you see, it is more weight reduction and decoration. So if you see all the new launches of two-wheelers, is all decoration. How lightweight you are making that vehicle and how decorative you are making that vehicle. And that is bringing a lot of new polymers, new replacement of processes, and how you can make a part in one shot, rather than having post-processing like what you said in your presentation. This is exactly what is the demand of the OEM. You need volume production, you need less scrap, you need less wastage, and at a lower cost.
Okay.
So I can see only decoration, decoration, decoration.
Okay.
For the next, say, 5 years is only decoration.
Okay. I heard Mr. Gupchup picked up the mic, so please.
Yeah, I think just to add to my colleagues' points, see, from the OEM perspective, cost, time, quality have always been the drivers for any product. So, in addition to this cost, time, and quality, today it is more about sustainability and value add. So, these two factors have come very predominantly today in all the aspects of business, whether it is OEM, tier one, or you are talking about the raw material suppliers. So, when we are talking about value add, it is all about decoration, customization, it is all about preferential, you can say mood lightings, those kind of, you can say good to have features which are now becoming predominant, and they are becoming more, you can say essential with the vehicles. So you can see the recent launch of vehicles in India, like they are full packed with all the features which one can give for a customer. Like you name it and they have it. So this kind of feature additions to the product is something which is coming very heavily, and that is the value add which the tier ones like Varroc and Faurecias and ISCs and Gruppos of the world are actually driving it to facilitate that to the OEM. So that is one important aspect. And the other important aspect in terms of OEM, when we talk about innovations, is previously it used to be a very big R&D in-house in OEMs and driving a lot of in-house innovation. But today the culture has changed to an open house innovation or a collaborative innovation. That is another, you can say, lift in terms of innovation focus, where the previous panels were discussing about collaboration with the startup companies, and this is going to be very, very sustainable for the, you can say, the OEM big giants as well as the upcoming startups, that they have to collaborate with each other, and the existence of both of these parties is going to depend upon how fast and how effectively they collaborate with each other, because each one of them have their limitations and you can say advantages. That is going to be the future trend in terms of innovation, I would say. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. I would quickly like to ask Amit also, because you are also working a lot on exterior applications and also TACO. So if you would like to add also from the exterior perspective specifically.
For exterior purpose, if I talk about 5 years back when we used to go any OEM for the lighting of the vehicle. So for example, if I talk about a front end carrier like a component and we approach. So earlier the thought process was that a per kg rate with respect to the plastic versus the steel does not satisfy the, or you can say we cannot go to adopt that. So this give an opportunity to tier 1 suppliers that rather than talking only a simple conversion of a metal to plastic, let's talk about a modules, rather taking of a single component. So instead of front-end carrier, we should talk about a front-end module, which consists of a bumper, grille. The complete assembly will be done by a tier 1 supplier and will be supplied on a JIT basis to a OEM, which will reduce their all the assembly line, the length of that, the manpower. Then you can be able to justify, yes, this is the right way to have a plastic complete module in that system.
Interesting. Just single.
Yeah, I just add one thing about it. So the module, the concept from the OEM side is coming out like you should be a module supplier for any kind of product, like for exterior, interior, anything we talk. Like front-end module, what Amit has said about it, that complete tailgate can be converted on a system supplier. So OEM has to do a lot of things which they do not want to do what tier 1 is doing right now. So tier 1 more focused on a system supplier like for exterior, interior, any module supplier you can say. If we talk about the smart surfaces which other panelists have said about it, the most of the surfaces are smart surfaces now. You can convert on that decoration, you convert on electronic, you can convert on a display or anything, whatever is explain about it. So OEM will give us only the surfaces, you have to define, design it, or you have to integrate with your module. So the things are moving it to dependency on tier 1 to more work on a module level, and you give us electronic and other part integrated in it, and you have to supply those products. So most of the things are going to be tier 1 driven.
Tier 1 driven. Yeah.
So,
Thanks. Sandeep, you mentioned about also part from my presentation, so thank you for that. Because on this panel, I am a moderator, but I am also representing the plastic raw material side. So feel free also to throw back a question on me in case you think about that. Good news is that some of the decoration parts or functionality you mentioned, you probably already noticed in our presentation. So the good news to the industry is that tier 1 is going in that direction, and as you said, that you see a match that raw material guys are following that trend. So that's a good topic. But picking again your point, the question comes back to you is then when you say the tier 1s have now the highest responsibility of bringing these innovations to the OEMs, how the tier 1s are gearing up for this? I mean, we are looking at some requirements which were not necessary because they were not needed. So we never did it. You know? And now it is coming like a big pull. So was it a sudden shock, or you already saw this coming? So how tier 1s are gearing up to reciprocate to this or respond to this pull from OEMs?
yeah, this is actually very high challenging for the tier 1 who was a conventional tier 1s, and like they are the molding manufacturer or the plastic part manufacturers. But currently the pull has come like you are having a smart surface, you are having electronics, you are having a electrical component behind that. So we are gearing up, we are making our engineering setup according to electronic or decoration or the post operation like the films and those things. We are educating our teams, we are bringing up those technology, integrating with the plastic, because plastic is a backward, you can say that not very, it is a supporting element. Now the other elements like films, electronics are the leading element which we have to do it. But yes, plastic is very important because the films and other things also come from the plastic. And if you talk about the plastic, because the plastic should have a lightweight technology. So we have to reduce the density of the plastic. We have to improve the functionality of the plastic. We have to improve the strength. Wherever if we can use composite, we have to use composite on it. So it's very important to improve the plastic and then other features on it.
Yeah, true. And that's also part of our context today on the composites. But would you like to also add something what Mr. Singhal already said?
Yes, yeah, I think when we are talking about a tier 1 like Varroc, for example, on one side we have the raw material suppliers and other side we have the OEMs actually expecting what you call all these aspects of plastics and all that.
Right.
So we have a very crucial role bridging this gap between both the OEMs. Now looking at plastics as such, today it is more about functional value add. As I said, it cannot be just a trim, it cannot be just a cover, it cannot be just a glove box cover or deck lid or those kind of things. That is not acceptable.
Right.
It has to be functional. It can have an integration with other technologies. It can be with electronics, it can be with lighting, it can be with metallics,
Right.
it can be with mechanisms. So these all aspects of functionality, because car is actually delivering a very complex function for a user. And as long as we don't enter into that zone where we are delivering functionality and value add to the end user, plastics is not going to be that what you call, or we are not able to meet the expectations of the OEM.
Absolutely.
And consolidation of components is also one more aspect which we need to look upon. You take a door trim, you take a bumper, you take a IP. We talked previously about 160 components, we're talking about 200 components in a IP. How do we consolidate that into 10 components? I think Tesla is focusing on those aspects. So because the more the components, more the logistics, the more the component, more the perceived quality issues,
Absolutely.
more the component we have integration issues. So it is also about consolidation about this plastic component. Take a simple example of a door trim. You take a door module we talked about. Door module will have a speaker, it will have window winding mechanism, it will have electronics, it will have furthermore acoustics, NVH, all those things. So is there a possibility with all the plastic raw materials which were shown by our, what you call it as RM suppliers, to consolidate it into 3 or 4 components? That is what the OEMs will be happy with.
Right.
Because they don't want to have a big laundry list of BOM and all those things.
Right.
So that is where the tier 1s have to work into value add to that. And of course, sustainability remains as the bottom line for all the value chain. We are not going to compromise on that. Whether it is safety, whether it is sustainability, it is going to be the same targets for everybody in the value chain.
Agree.
So that remains as the bottom line. And this handling those balances between cost, time, quality, value add, and then sustainability, safety for Indian market is definitely a challenge.
Absolutely.
And we all have to work together to get in there.
Yeah. You actually made my life a little bit easy for the session because I already were going to ask a question that we all talk about innovations and fancy stuff, and then there is also sustainability behind. But you already said that this doesn't go away. So we simply cannot overlook safety and sustainability.
It is not
Absolutely
optional
right.
question.
It's not optional question, absolutely. I feel like going back to school. We talked about lightweighting and a lot of integration. So let me steal a couple of minutes to say that we already made some demonstrations on a complete tailgate, integrated tailgate. Or now we are actively working on replacing the front grille because EV doesn't need a front grille. There is no engine inside. So we have changed that completely to a communication model. And that we already demonstrated. So on the raw material side, we try to catch up on the trend and try to meet up the expectations of the industry. But then we are looking at you to help us to fill the gap because we may not be able to see it. So I think you also mentioned about the collaboration, which was also a question on my mind. How do you see this collaboration happening today? Obviously, a lot of chance to improve, but which could be some improvement areas where you see that this collaboration should happen even more? Maybe this kind of event is one, but then you can't do it every month or something like this. So are there some ideas or thoughts? Maybe Viniji, you can say something.
Yeah, Divakar, see, during current transformation of industry, nobody is perfect. True. I would say that no company has all the skill set required for new technology and methods. True. Right? So we all should come forward together. Like as Mr. Bali was saying that Daimler and Volvo has collaborated together to make a company, to working for new technology. So likewise, just out of the box idea, Covestro or some other raw material manufacturer should work together to work out some good solutions, some collaborative solutions. Right. Likewise, tier 1 industry should formulate one, maybe one committee, that kind of thing, any kind of panel. All those kind of activity would definitely help us to come out with collaborative solutions. Similarly, our government that also should take some more steps. Like Mr. Gadkari was saying that, he is very aggressive, that we all know. But especially for plastic industry, we don't see any body which is perfect, which is perfectly giving benefit to tier 1 as well as raw material manufacturers. Right? So, there should be national as well as international panel where anybody can team up, I mean any company can team up and work together to work out a collaborative solution. That is my thought.
Okay, thank,
Thank
you. Any other thoughts?
Just
Yeah.
one point about it, that we have to, what he has said, we have to add in it. Like tier 2, we have to develop the tier 2 who can work with us, like in electronics, or you can say the plastic molding manufacturing or the composite manufacturing. So some of the things which we have to divert and then give it a more bigger pool of responsibility to the tier 2 and rely on them, teach them so that they will come up with their own territory and then supply those products. And we will do other works which is more required for the OEM and other fraternity of the working. That's all.
Yeah.
I would like to just add one
Sure,
point here.
sure, sure,
Of course, all the bits of the industry we need to connect together on this collaboration front. But from the India perspective, one of the most important point is the industry and academic collaboration, because we see a lot of difference, or you can say gap between our education system and actually industry. Whereas I'm always very passionate about Germany because I've spent a lot of time in Germany. Like the academy and the industry collaborations are so strongly knitted that all the innovations actually happen in the universities.
True.
It is not in the industry. Their industry people are going to the academic area and doing their research there. Yes, today, I think in the last 5 years or so, that is being promoted by our government, and there are a lot of fundings coming to IITs and all those things on this thing. But if we have to really create an innovation world, we have to uplift our academia today, and I think we are still not there in that aspect.
We try to do something there, so we collaborate with some universities on specific topics, because you rightly said there are a lot of brilliant minds and ideas there out there in the education institutes, and nobody should consider that we are the smartest in whatever field. This definitely cannot happen. Yeah, Amit, you want to
Definitely,
say?
even if we are going to any OEM and presenting some new concept or some new styling or input to any vehicle, first question there that what experience do you have?
Right.
A base of Indian-based company might be having no experience.
Right.
But like us, we can say that, yes, my sister companies are doing already in the Europe. So we will be transforming. So the collaboration is a very important aspect over here.
I agree. I would like to come back to our topic, because probably we are digressing a little bit into education where we are not so influential. Would you like to cite some examples from your side itself, that these are some innovations you did yourself, if you are free to share? And that would be quite interesting for our audience to know, and including me actually. So it's anybody who would like to say something.
So we tried some innovation for Indian OEMs through making a hybrid seat structure. Okay, so generally it is very difficult to get acceptance from a OEM for a hybrid structure, which is a safety component, and there could be reluctance of having that, because for a metal to get a crash worthiness is little bit more easy. Because you can play with the tools very faster compared to the plastic. So that is the main challenge which we were facing. So creating a plastic cushion pan or creating a side member of a seat structure into a hybrid kind of thing. So you have a ribbed structure into a metal. This is what is the thing. So it was very difficult. This innovation was there, but we could not be 100% successful in all the OEMs. So it was not so easy to penetrate, and it is still not easy to penetrate.
That's true. I mean, I have been in the innovation function for a few years, and I know that it's very difficult sometimes to push innovation in a particular direction.
Yes.
You just hope that somebody really picks
Because
that up.
the question which is asked is, what is the benchmark, where it is used?
Right.
Because it is very easy to get the acceptance if there is a benchmark in that vehicle and all those things. So these kind of things are there. So that is the main challenge of innovation.
Innovation doesn't have benchmark. So
No, it's actually it's good. Imagine your innovation had a benchmark, then your limits, then we just talk about territories. Innovation cannot work in territories.
Yeah, but I think these new trends are helping people to do experiments, accepting at least 10% of the innovation which is going in the industry. So I think the future is bright. Let's see.
One example, I mean, that is that may be pretty old for 2021, but I am giving an example of 2007, 6 or 7, when people were not seeing plastic oil pan in commercial vehicle. Still, there is a challenge in India. Nobody is using plastic oil pan in commercial vehicle. Cummins is developing that for the first time. For that is also for off-road vehicle, and all those development have been done with one of my previous employer during my tenure over there. I was working with Minda Corporation at that time, and Cummins is bringing this oil pan for the first time in India with Minda Corporation. Similarly, for Mercedes Actros truck, Minda Corporation has developed this plastic oil pan in 2007. And that, again, with the help of BASF at the time. So, why I am mentioning BASF? Because raw material supplier also plays the equal role in these kind of innovations. So I have just taken these example because this is example related to plastic industry, like I mean metal to plastic, or maybe light weighting or noise reduction or whatever you say. So these are the two examples I just want to brought.
Even your was still recent. I was talking about wood and leather, which was maybe 1800s or 1900s, and we are trying to bring it back. So it was still interesting.
Similarly, from our side is recently we have a lot many opportunities coming. They're definitely directed from the Europe trend, since OEM in Europe uses a more high gloss component instead of painted components, especially in the exterior parts,
Right.
especially in the very A class surface area. So that now slowly being introduced in the India. So earlier, lot many technologies are there, if I talk about, and everybody, most of the colleagues knows also. But rather than adopting a technology or using a right raw material grade and a right tooling for that will be a major aspect in terms of achieving that.
Okay.
So that is one of the thing we are recently working on it,
Okay.
and we have done it.
Yeah, sometimes what happens, these technologies coming very fast, molded in color, okay, to avoid paint. But then there is no right facility for the tooling or the processes like rapid heat and cool.
Yeah.
Is still missing in India.
Yes.
Okay, if it is required to have that desired gloss, then rapid cooling, heating is required, and that expertise on the tooling is required. So these all things are the challenges, but I think over the period with all these things, it will start coming.
Yeah. You talked about RHCM, and we are actively promoting this also, still on the raw material side, because we believe we have the right solutions, not only material side, but application side also waiting to happen, because RHCM is not here. Yes. We have the technology providers, tool makers right here in India from Japan, but we are waiting for the processors to come ahead and invest into RHCM or even direct coating technology I talked about. I looked at the watch, we still have 10 minutes if I'm not wrong. I would like to change a little bit in case our audience feels that they would like to ask a question. I don't know if that is allowed. Organizers, it's okay, fine. Then, I see some hands. So in case they can get a mic. Till they get a mic, then let me ask you one question. You can think about and answer later. If I would ask you what would be the 3 dream applications or innovations you would wish to see, and I'm limiting only to the automotive application. It's not related to e-mobility, nothing to do with interior, exterior, it can be anything. Because many times we think mobility is only car moving from A to B, but it can be different. So just as a hint. But this is something you can think and answer later till we have a question from the audience, or spontaneously if you have something.
Yeah, for me, the load floor, composite load floor is what is passionate. I want to see that. With EVs, I think that will be more realistic, looks like. So that is the one thing what I can think of.
I'm making a note.
Yes. The second could be, as I told you, the combination of metal and plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is what I can say that the future is hybrid in terms of material also, and you will always have to play with combination of metal plastics. So you have the outer as a sheet metal, the inner will be the rib structure of nylon or polyolefins or whatever.
Whatever. Right. Okay. I said 3.
I would add one.
Sorry,
one
I
from
said
my
3.
side. I would add one from my side, maybe a challenge
Sure.
for raw
Yeah, I'm
material
writing.
resin developer. Complete engine in plastic, with no plastic waste at all at ELV.
Okay.
So that is one of my dream projects.
Okay.
I want to see in my life.
So complete
Complete engine in plastic.
Oh, complete engine
I mean,
in
maybe
plastic. Oh, wow.
composite
Okay.
or bioplastic
Okay,
or
got it.
anything.
Okay, in plastic. Got it. Okay.
Especially engine block.
Okay. Now I'm going to respond on some of your ideas. So allow me to do that.
Yes.
So, shall I?
Yeah.
So, audience, you had
Hello.
a question?
Can I go ahead with the question,
Because
please?
we can't see you, so in case you can stand up, at least we know who is asking. Otherwise,
Yeah, good afternoon.
Okay.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. It's been very insightful discussion. My name is Niranjan. I have worked extensively on composites and especially now working on LFT compounds. Prior to this, I have worked extensively on rubber to TPE, TPVs, and I've been having opportunity to interact. Now, this is exactly the area that needs to be introspected. LFT plays a very important role in bringing the structural change, especially what Mr. Sandeep Vaikole was talking about, hybrid structures, or Mr. Vineet was also talking about it. Yes, exactly, that's the area that we have to look for. Short fiber glass fill compounds has a certain role to play. I think LFT compounds also plays a very important role in bringing that engineering change. But one question comes to my mind is that most of the Indian vehicle manufacturers or the OEMs are either European or Japanese or Korean. So they want to listen to the bosses out there and accepting Tatas and Mahindras and couple of two-wheelers who are homegrown companies. So what is the challenge all of you guys out there as the leaders in the industry face when you're going to the OEMs? Because the OEMs, especially coming from the overseas side, they don't listen to the ideas coming from the Indian soil. They think that they have better ideas out there. So that's one. Second thing is that where do you see the future of LFT and such technologies coming up in India? Thank you.
thank you. Before you start answering, I would say organizers, you already got one moderator or panelist for the next session, I think. Sorry. Please.
Yeah, for the global OEMs, yes, what you say is 100% correct. There is very limited scope for tier 1 or RM suppliers also for any innovation or anything to suggest, unless and until you don't propose a value proposition, and then it works with them. So the start is, yes, you have to create a European model with an Indian cost. The start is like this, but the end is, no, you have to follow the LH. You understand what is LH, so which OEM I'm talking. So this is how it is, finally it happens. But then the cost is defined for that. So this is how it works. But what I can see is that the innovation really starts with the local OEMs. Okay, you have tremendous opportunities with Mahindras, you have tremendous opportunities with Tatas, but of course, as with tier 1s and with raw material suppliers, you have to go with a value proposition, and they are open to listen. They are open to listen. They are ready to take risk. Even Ford was a company who was ready to take risk in India also. They were always open with all those kinds of things. So this is what we always see. And coming to your next question, there is a lot of opportunity for LFT and those things with lightweighting. That will definitely happen. There are many components which are going into LFTs. Only challenge is that how we are going to make it recyclable. So that will be the thing on which the tier 1 and the RM suppliers has to think of.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
So otherwise, these composites have a bright future, but unless and until we don't give that solution, because after 2-3 years, that will be the new thing. Because I can see Suzuki asking, what are the green materials you have and what are the green products you have? This is the thing which is now there, some thought process is going on. So after EV or this thing, people will suddenly jump to this thing.
Yeah.
So we have to be prepared.
Yeah,
I see the lady is back on the stage, but you'll have to give us 5 more minutes because I'm not going to miss this opportunity, and I'm going to say a few things before I close. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, important point for the last what he has said about the CAF norm. This CAF norm is very important, and but the problem with the composite currently, because the recyclability is a major challenge. If LFT can be add on the composite like carbon fiber, which will give us a good advantage, and because of the cost, we were not able to drive this factor. But yes, obviously the LFT will be combined with some other material, which will be helpful. I feel so.
Okay. So
Just one,
I
can
already
I-
got a hint that we are
Can-
running
can I
out
take
of
a question?
time. Okay.
I'm George.
Okay. Please. Yes. Please.
I'm George from Craftsman Tooling. Mr. Sandeep Vaikule was talking about more aesthetics for the future in this thing. So, what are the new technologies available for? One is for main paint reduction in plastics and for improving the aesthetics. And my second question is for weight reduction in plastics. Is there any new technology for weight reduction in plastics? Not for converting from metal to plastic, but weight reduction in plastics. Yeah. Two questions.
Yes, there are a lot of things people are working on weight reduction within plastics. So, if you see the earlier traditional instrument panel used to have lot of materials and lot of parts. So the integration of parts this is removing some of the parts. So this is what is happening, because now if you see all the new vehicles which are there, you have a very simple dashboard but with a big screen. Okay, so all the traditional parts have gone, and that has reduced a lot of parts and weight. I always compare, and I always say in all the sessions, that we have a very good similarity between a mobile and automobile. Well, a mobile is only without transmission, otherwise all technologies of mobile, including recycling, will follow the automobile. So the touch screen, everything, you just make it bigger scale, it is the thing. Everything what you have in mobile, integration of parts, making it compact, making it more recyclable, separation, everything is coming in this. Weight reduction, battery, long life of battery, everything is the part of automobile now.
Reduction, not weight reduction.
Yes.
There's a new technology, the Musel technology. I don't know if you all.
Yeah, but Musel, we are talking from last 10 years. I think hardly one or two parts are there still in Musel.
Yeah.
But,
It
why
is
not?
actually a very good technology,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Because of the economics of scale, it is not working.
Okay.
But it is a really good technology.
And my next question was, regarding paint reduction. Are you all looking at any new
What did
question? to
Paint-
Mr.
paint
Amataria,
reduction?
maybe?
Wait reduction.
So,
Paint, reducing
Paint.
for
Ah,
paint.
paint.
Maybe
Paint
Amataria
reduction.
can.
Paint
Prediction,
reduction.
I told you that now the OEM has changed that most of the component which is going in the front bumpers, even in the radiator grills, they are not asking a painted component. They are asking a high gloss. And with the top up with some hot foiling or a chrome plated strips, which is enhancing the aesthetic of that component. So the OEM drive is already started, which we used to earlier say that we can eliminate the paint, but there is a technology behind it. We need to adopt it. There is some infrastructure which is needed. Now we have alternative options available, which is far better and cheaper in terms of adopting this stuff. So we are in process of that.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
think I'm sure there are a lot of questions.
One last question from my side. Thank you. I'm Prashant, and thank you very much for the nice presentation and this. The question from my side is, as we are talking about innovation, and since innovation is the necessity need is the mother for the innovation. Earlier, there would not be plastic if no one would have thought of it. And now, steel is going to be replaced with plastic. In future, what will be the replacement for plastic? Thank you.
Any thoughts?
Plastic will play a role in cashing out our dreams. Definitely, it will play a role in future as well. Only thing, as Mr. Sandeep is mentioning, that recycling, that is a big challenge. That is a big challenge. But yes, definitely, people are working. I mean, you might have heard in publication like Toyota has developed some sugarcane-based product. Nissan Leaf, the electric vehicle, upcoming Leaf, you just read the publication, how much recyclable material they are using. around 25% of plastic is recyclable. So people are working in that direction. Still, there is a huge scope in improving that recycling methods. So people are working, like, I mean, all the raw material suppliers are working, all the R&D spending are towards not only for new material invention, that is for recycling method invention as well. Earlier, plastic recycling was only done by landfilling. But nowadays, ELV norms are getting very stringent by government. We are allowed to dump only 5% of vehicle weight in landfill. Rest 95% is to be used either for recycling or renewable energy. So that's why people have to think. But I mean, as you said that what will replace plastic? Nothing will replace plastic. Only thing, if plastic would be replaced, that is with another derivative like composite or something like that.
Yeah, plastics will be replaced with biodegradable plastic.
Correct. So just to add like few points, yes, the plastic will change its name, nomenclature, form and all those things, but still it will be maybe green plastic or eco-friendly plastic or sustainable plastics, but yes, it will be there very much.
Yeah. And I will take it from there to end the session because I know you have been patiently waiting, and thank you for
Mr.
allowing
Gokhale,
this.
before you close, I just have three.
Oh, yes, please. Yes, please.
So the three components I would like to imagine in plastics. One is like structural underbody. That is something which I feel in composites is far doable. The second thing is, I think I want to challenge the status quo here. We are talking about e-mobility and batteries. Why do we really need batteries? Is there anything else in the vehicle which can take a form of battery? So can we think of a plastic which can maybe store and discharge energy or store and discharge electricity? That will be a very sustainable thing. So that like we have solar cells, we are working with solars anyway now. But I think if we can transform these batteries into panels, the panel itself are able to store energy and then discharge when required, then we don't need these heavy batteries at all.
True.
So that kind of maybe innovation on plastics which can do the electricity function. And the third thing is about like, we talked about recyclability of the composite materials. So these composite materials, I think many of the OEMs are now working on recyclability. So how about forged composites? Like, can we have composite forging components made out of composites? So these are the three things
Very
I would like
interesting.
to really see. And I know that many of the OEMs are already working on this thing. So that's the reason it is going to come in the near future. Yeah.
Okay. I'm making note of all the points and I'm going to take it back, being one of the raw material fraternity person. And now allow me really to end the session. We will have chance also to talk in during lunch time. But I would like to respond to a few of the points which I captured. So we talked a lot about LFT and what we can do with LFT. So I'm glad to share that we have already developed a complete car base for electric car, which is a single component. And there we have done a very heavy investment. So not only material is besides, anyway we will do it. But we have invested in a machine which is a complete end-to-end. So you start on the raw material, on the other side you get a complete LFT part, which is the base of your car. Which covers your battery. So these are the areas we are working at. Load floor already existing. So we can directly give you the load floor. So that is already there. We talked about combining metal and plastic. I can show you part on our table there. So we are working a lot on heat dissipation and some new innovations are happening which I cannot disclose. But you will see probably very soon these kind of thing actually coming into reality. And maybe we have also replacement to metal, maybe. So I cannot say more than that. Very interesting points, structural underbody, maybe LFT direction, store and discharge energy. We work a lot with phase change materials. Now can we look at phase change materials for storing energy? So we try to do that with Solar Impulse, which is the first aeroplane that circumnavigated the world without using any fuel. It was purely on solar. So a lot of material innovation has happened, not only from us, but other players in the industry also. So some work was done in that direction. Of course, it will never be perfect, it will never be complete. But I think this discussion gives us a lot of directions and a lot of hints where we are today, where we want to go. And I think each one in the room has some takeaway. So thank you very much to all of you. Thank you for giving a chance to trigger this discussion. And I hope we made a good justice to the time that we invested in this. Thank you. Thank you.